Hello, my friends. My name is Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to help you understand what's going on in the war in Ukraine. Every day I do a daily brief in the morning, and in the evening I do 3 big stories. But today I'm doing 5 big stories because there's more to talk about. So here we go. So this morning I talked about the former head of cybersecurity has been engulfed in all kinds of scandals. He's now been sent to the front line. So that's a scandal, but well, maybe he can do something on the front line that'll, pay for his past crimes and sins. But now we also have MP Klitschko notified of suspicion of illegal enrichment estimated at over 11 million UAH, which is a few hundred thousand US dollars. Ukrainian member of parliament Andrei Klitschko, servant of the People faction, is suspected of illegal enrichment estimated at more than 11 million. The MP's actions are qualified under Article 368.5 of the Criminal Code. It was established that, now the only silver lining, if there is one, is that this happened in 2020 to 2021. So at least it's old news, but the upside is that they're actually bringing it to light. Now, it's a terrible time to bring it to light, but they're not sweeping it under the rug, and that's what's really important. The MP had acquired assets worth 25 million hryvnias, that's 500,000 pounds. And he and his wife's combined declared income at the savings at the time was just 14 million hryvnias. That's 284,000. So there's a 223,000 pound deficit between what he actually had money to play with and what he actually had as income, and so something just wasn't right, but they're bringing it to light. Okay, next story. David Cameron commits $3 billion a year in aid to Ukraine for as long as necessary. So that's a good sign to see $3 billion on the table every year. Now here's another good sign. A Reuters story saying Britain's Foreign Secretary David Cameron promises aid to Ukraine is withdrawal pending a review of certain details of the story. Why is that a good sign? Well, it's a good sign because you can trust the journalism that's doing this kind of fact checking. And, if it is true that it's 3 billion, it'll add up, not just from the UK, but from Germany and France and so on and so forth. As Senator Dirksen famously said, a billion here, a billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. Okay, next story. So I saw this morning. This was Emmanuel Macron saying, "I'm not ruling anything out." Says troops for Ukraine are possible if Russia breaks through the front lines. And Russia is trying to push through front lines. It's really perilous in at least 2 places on the front. So Emmanuel Macron, this is now in the Daily Mail, Emmanuel Macron said he would be prepared to send troops if Vladimir Putin's forces break through the front lines, further raising risk of NATO clashes. And he also said that if it was a breakthrough and if Volodymyr Zelensky made such a request, those are the 2 conditions for him sending those troops. Well, Russia didn't like it, as you would expect, and a subtitle here from Pravda was Emmanuel Macron starts thinking of himself as little Napoleon. They're not happy about that. Okay, next story, 3rd big story. So Tuesday I talked about Canadian version of MAGA. And I got mixed results in the comments. Some people said, nah, it's not really like that. And others said, yeah, it's definitely here. We see something very similar to that. We imbibe similar media. It's not quite Trump, but it's very similar. And so that same night, later on in the day, and I didn't talk about it yesterday, just overwhelmed by other things, but yep, this guy was ejected from the House of Commons.
Allow those drugs to kill the people in our hospitals and on our public transit. When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko prime minister?
2 things.
Okay, so what just happened is the conservative leader is calling the other side wacko. You're not allowed to use that kind of language on the floor of the legislature. You have to have respectful language, and he refused to do so. And then he doubles down, and then he doubles down, and then he gets kicked out.
I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to withdraw that term, which is not considered parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, I replace wacko with extremist. He is an
The honourable member to please. I'm going to ask the Leader of the Opposition once again to just withdraw that comment, please. And I'll invite the honourable member. going to ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to please withdraw that comment and simply withdraw that comment.
I'll replace it with radical
No,
Baptist policy.
I am not asking